Hey guys, I'm the 50s Kid. In this video, we're going to take a look at Milwaukee's brand new 3/8 inch mid-torque impact wrench. So let's get started. Before we get started, I just want to get this out of the way. Milwaukee did send me this tool to check out for free in exchange for a review on my channel. So if that bugs you in any way, go ahead and click off, watch another video. That being said, I'm not going to hold back my honest opinion of this thing, and I just got to say, I would still buy this thing even if they didn't send it to me for free. The minute I heard about this, I was super excited. I mean, I've been using Milwaukee tools since before I had a sponsorship with them, and you know, I love them. I love Milwaukee tools. This has been the most powerful 3/8 inch impact, 3/8 inch drive impact ratchet that you could get, impact wrench that you could get from Milwaukee for a long time. 200 foot-pounds, really awesome tool. I've been using it forever and ever. You know, I usually, if you're a regular viewer on the channel, I usually have a protective boot over it. So that's the guy I've been using forever and ever on this channel. But now we have one that is more than twice as powerful. This thing, this is the 2852, and it has, according to Milwaukee, it has 600 foot-pounds of nut-busting torque, whatever that means. And it has 450 foot-pounds of fastening torque. Let's just call it 450, you know? Like, let's only expect 450 from it. Even at 450, that's more than twice the 200 you get from this sucker, which is really awesome. It's gonna weigh a lot more, obviously. You know, this one feels significantly lighter in my hand. I can throw it around a lot more, but this one's, it's not that much heavier, to be quite honest with you. Now, this kit, this is the Dash 22 kit. The Dash 20 would be the tool only. The Dash 22 kit comes with 2 of these 5.0 batteries, super high capacity batteries. I personally think that these batteries are too heavy. They make the tool too heavy, and they're just too much, they're more capacity than I really need. So I purchased my own 2.0 battery for this thing, because that's just a lighter package to me. I kind of like that. It's just, it feels a little better, you know? Now when you're comparing apples to apples with the 2 amp hour batteries, honestly, this guy is not that much heavier than this guy. I really don't feel like, and I have been using this, I don't feel like I get any kind of fatigue from this thing, which is really awesome. Now let's compare. Basically, this is for all intents and purposes, I mean, they call this the mid-torque, and it is literally the same thing, same physical size and everything as the, that's the 1/2 inch mid-torque. Let's get that boot off of that for you. 1/2 inch mid-torque, 3/8 inch mid-torque, okay? Weight-wise, I feel like this one is slightly heavier, although I'm pretty sure they're probably almost exactly the same. It's probably just the difference in my hand, you know, my arms and whatnot. So it's, I mean, it's literally the same thing, just with a different drive, with a different drive end, okay? Power-wise, it feels like they're basically identical. And another thing that's nice is the boot is going to be identical to the 1/2 inch. So if you think that the 3/8 inch impact boot isn't available yet, you're wrong. It is the 1/2 inch. Let me get that on there right. It's the same thing as the 1/2 inch. So there you go. You've got your boot ready. So that's how I kind of like to customize my tool. It works a little better for me. You know, it feels a little better that way. And there you go. I have that's the best way, I think, to configure this tool. Now, in comparing this tool to this tool, the 1/2 inch mid-torque to the 3/8 inch mid-torque, they feel power-wise basically identical. I mean, obviously, basically the only difference really is the drive size, and that really just goes down to what set of tools you like to use most often. You know, maybe you kind of just prefer to bring out your 3/8 set, and you just, you know, sometimes you need to bust something loose, and then it's like, it depends on what tools you have. You know, this thing, an impact wrench like this, it's not going to get in when you're taking engines apart. It's going to be too wide to get down in and access everything. So, I mean, back in the day, the 200 foot-pound was the only impact wrench that I had. I couldn't use it for everything. In those cases where I couldn't fit it in, what I would do is I would pull off the socket, switch to my ratchet, break something loose, and then switch back to this guy. I just preferred to work in a 3/8 set. It was the most extensive set I had. It was kind of the lightest. It just kind of worked for me. So if that's kind of you, then you definitely want the most powerful 3/8 impact that you can buy. It'll definitely do everything that the 1/2 inch will. However, I am going to say that there are additional things you can do with the 1/2 inch, and that is when it comes to larger sockets. Let me give you an example. Let's say you need to take off an axle nut with a 36 millimeter 12-point socket. You'll get the heaviest socket you have, but if you have the 1/2 inch compact, or the 1/2 inch mid-torque, I'm sorry, that's going to fit right on, and you're not gonna lose any power or torque in that. But if you want to use this same socket on the 3/8, you'll have to use an adapter. And the thing about adapters is you lose power in between, because there's just a little bit of play. It's like think of it as one hammer hitting another hammer, and it's just you lose a little bit in that play that you have in there. So it's not going to be you're not going to transfer quite as much energy using this setup as if you use that socket directly on the 1/2 inch mid-torque. So that is something to consider. I definitely want to put that into practice. We're going to do that here in a second. I will take off, we'll take off a wheel, and we'll try to do an axle nut. And we'll just see how that works for us, okay? Other than that, again, there's really no difference between the two mid-torques, and it really just comes down to which drive size you prefer. Okay, the unfair test with the adapter with the 36 millimeter socket. Let's see how well it does. It took quite a bit to get that sucker off, but it's possible. Still, you don't want to put yourself in that kind of situation. You want to use the right tool for the right job. I think this is definitely pushing the abilities of the 3/8 inch drive. It's just because they don't make those sockets. You know, if they did make 3/8 inch drive sockets that were larger, meant for taking off axle nuts, it would be fine to make this guy your only tool, your only impact that you really need. But truth be told, it's not. It's more for working on suspensions. You can definitely do wheels, wheels and tires with it. That's fine. The axle nut is, and more than that, the crank bolts. Those are going to be where it fails, or not fails, but is just not the right tool for that job. Almost there. It's just not quite getting it all the way. I'm gonna have to switch to the Miracle Worker, the 1/2 inch high torque. There we go, done in 2 seconds. I will replace this tomorrow. So there you go, folks, an unbiased review of the 3/8 mid-torque. Don't let what I just demonstrated dissuade you from purchasing this tool. To be honest, this is what I use almost exclusively now when I'm going for an impact wrench. I don't go for the 1/2 inch simply because I'm always using the 3/8 ratchet, and I just like to be able to sort of switch the socket from one to the other, and I don't want to have two sets of sockets out, and it's really just a convenience thing. But if you don't mind that, if you're fine working in 1/2 inch, get the 1/2 inch because it's a little bit more flexible. You can do a little bit more. If you've seen my 1/2 inch mid-torque review, you know that it can take off those axle nuts without a problem and such. So it's really just it's such a hard question to answer. Which one should you get? You have to decide for yourself. But there it is. I just wanted to give you a look at that tool. And if you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more. I'm the 50s Kid. Thanks a lot for watching.